Only things to roster-wise, just to acknowledge is Taysom and Foster. They've opened up their practice window, so they'll be able to get back on the practice field for the first time this year. And then Caesar likely will be out this week, and we'll kind of take it week by week with him. So other than that, those are kind of the roster things, and I'll open up for questions.
Taysom and Foster, they'll practice. Is they're ready to get out there and start practicing?
Yeah, they've been cleared to practice. So obviously, it's been a long journey for those guys. So excited to see them just out there with a helmet on and actually do a little bit of football.
We talked a lot about Taysom prior this season, but whenever he's able to get back on the field, what can he add to this offense?
Yeah, Taysom's obviously a tremendous football player. He does a lot of different things. He's got a unique skill set that is tough to replicate and match in this league, and so. Obviously it's been a long journey for Taysom and Foster to get back to this point, to just even be back to practice. And so we'll just see how it all progresses. But, he's obviously had such an impact on this organization for such a long time. And whenever that time comes that he's back on the field, we'll be fired up.
Just looking at the game again in the film, with some of the stuff that stood out positively and, stuff that you're still looking to improve.
Yeah, obviously, hey, at the end of the day, we didn't meet our goal. We didn't win the football game. We have to look into all the little details. Felt like penalties we cleaned up. We created a big-time turnover. I think Jonas's play was just an incredible play to create that turnover. And we ran the football a lot better. I think that was an important part going into that game versus that opponent, but also just for us as an identity on offense. And so I felt like our guys took some really good steps there, and we played some really good football. We just, we didn't win enough of the hard downs, the tough downs, the third downs, the red zone. And they made more plays in those critical situations than we did.
You guys ran a lot more plays from under center. Was that specific to Buffalo, or is that a wrinkle that you have that you just use sometimes?
It's probably a combination of both. Felt like there was some opportunities versus those guys with our design of the game plan to play under center. Felt like it could help us a little bit playing on the road, still being able to use your cadence a little bit more. Felt like I was probably called it too much in the gun at Seattle, and we were on the silent cadence a lot. And so I felt like there was some progress there. And so we'll just see how this thing progresses from a week-to-week basis. But I think there's definitely things to build off of from coming out of that.
What you touched on is that Jonas's growth in the past couple of weeks. Just can you fix that?
Jonas just done an awesome job. I'm just really happy for this guy. This guy's progressing every week. He played some really hard situations this week. He made the big-time interception, but he was matched up against some of the best tight ends in the league in Buffalo. And he covered him, step for step, made some great plays on the ball. And, he's coming around in just a really special way. And so I'm fired up to just see him continue to progress.
When you watched Rattler's film, what stood out positive or negative from the game?
Yeah, I think from a positive standpoint, his legs were a huge positive for us as far as his ability to extend plays, run the football, in some situations, both designed runs and QB scrambles. And so I thought he made some really good decisions to get out there and make some plays from that standpoint. I thought he made some plays for us. Ultimately, didn't make enough plays in the passing game. I think that's for all of us, just to find a way to put ourselves, those are tough downs. Third downs are tough in the league. Red zone is tough in this league, and we got to find a way to play a little bit better in those situations.
Why do you think he's gone a little bit behind guys at times with his throws? And is this can you guys fix that? Is there anything that can be done to kind of clean that up?
Yeah, I think there's just some timing stuff that we can look at and make sure we're all in the same phase, all in the same timing, anticipation. Again, there's plenty of good, and then there's we're a younger team, younger quarterback room, and there's going to be things that we need to grow in, and so that's all part of this.
Kellen, y'all scored on your opening drive. I know that's something you've been trying to emphasize. Can you talk a little bit about how important it is to get leads in this league, and as a play caller, the difference between playing catch up and playing with the lead?
Yeah, I thought it was a really good response by our offense. They went down and scored, and I thought our offense did a really good job in there. We ran the football. We created some play action opportunities. Kendra had a phenomenal run to finish that drive off. That's what we need. You got to start fast. And so now the goal is to continue to sustain that for a couple drives, put yourself in some positive situations where you have a lead. You're playing with that confidence and that swagger that comes with a lead. And so we're close. We're really, really close to accomplishing that. We're not there yet, obviously, so there's frustration associated with that. But that's certainly something we can embrace. Is I thought our guys came out and responded really well especially coming out of that Seattle game.
As a play caller, it's important to be able to keep playbook open, I guess. To have that dual threat approach where you're not abandoning the run.
Well, yeah, I think that's an important part of this is, we kind of call them mixed downs where, we have the ability to threaten with the run and the pass. And the more times you can play mixed down football, the better you're going to be and the more advantageous you're going to be because you put defense in conflict. And, I felt like we were able to play that way more. We were able to, certainly our rushing attempts, I think we were at 34 or something as far as rushes. There's probably some scrambles in there. But, we were able to run the football. We were able to create some play action opportunities. I think the next step in the play action thing, we need to accomplish hitting some explosive plays off of that. That's got to be a goal of ours moving forward. But I do think, some of those scrambles were as a result of some of those coverages. And so we just got to keep growing.
Kendre Miller, obviously a big part of that rushing attack. What have you seen from him, a guy who's battled through injury to get to this point and to be able to kind of start to be a consistent presence in your offense?
Yeah, just really happy for Kendre, his resiliency, his opportunistic as far as taking advantage of the opportunities he had this game. And so we were going to run the football. That was certainly a goal of ours. It was important. And so he was going to get his opportunities and touches. And I thought he just ran really, really hard, really physical. He had some just really, really incredible one cut where he just sees it and hits it. And so, him and Alvin run the football together. If we can keep and stay in those mixed down situations, be able to run the football with both of these guys, a lot of positives will come out of that.
When we talked to Kendra earlier, he said that you said that Buffalo was a team that'd be playing, January, February maybe. But when you put a performance like that against a team like that, do you feel like this could be the turning point for you?
Well, I think we have to use that as momentum building, foundation block, so to speak. Ultimately, again, we didn't get the ultimate goal, but there's some positives within this. The way our guys battled, the way our guys responded to, a really challenging situation up in Seattle, I thought was a lot of positives coming out of that. And so, I think our sideline had a lot of confidence, a lot of juice, a lot of energy. We were right in it. We didn't make the plays at the end of the game. We got to find a way. Schematically, coaching-wise, player-wise, we're all in this thing together. And so, I think the response and the way our guys have handled this has been really, really good. And we just got to get better and find a way.
Obviously, really clean penalty-wise, not that you did it. What was the process to, cleaning that up throughout the week? So, that's like a big turnaround there.
I think anytime you draw attention and focus to something and you have the right guys in the room, they're going to respond the right way. And so, obviously, we've talked a lot about it, and it's really been a 3-week journey. I think the first 3 weeks we've had issues with it. And so, it's not going to all go away. There's going to be moments where we're going to have some penalties there, but we got to do everything we can to control this and put ourselves in really advantageous situations because, you just see anytime there's a penalty, it puts you in a really challenging situation. And so, I thought our guys responded well.
Some of the players, you put together like a player council, like a leadership council, kind of you just tell us what that is and kind of how that works.
There's a leadership group that we touch base on occasion, just as far as anything related to the team. It's the captains and then a number of other veteran players. And so anytime we have an opportunity just to kind of go through this process, sometimes it's logistics, sometimes it's about on the field stuff. It's just a really good group of guys to touch base with because ultimately we're all in this together. I want to make sure that we're giving these guys everything they can possibly want and need to be successful and make sure whether it's a schedule tweak, a practice tweak, an in-game, can we do anything better? I think that communication and that dialogue is really healthy for all of us.
Is that different than, say, the team captains are voted on? Is that a different selection?
It's really an extension of that. So obviously the captains are all a part of that group, and then there's a handful of other guys that they're leaders too. They impact this team in a lot of ways, and so I think it's important to always touch base with those guys.
Looking ahead a little, Giants this weekend. Jackson Dart just had his first win, first start. What have you seen from him? Obviously, maybe a guy that y'all looked at possibly in the draft. What are the strengths that he has?
Yeah, Jackson's a really good player. He had a phenomenal career. He was a really impressive player at Ole Miss, and so when we went through this process, obviously we spent a lot of time with him. He's a great kid. He's going to be a really good quarterback in this league, and for him to come out, win his first game, use his legs in some situations. He's a really talented player, and so he's going to get better each and every week, and so that's going to be the challenge for us. Is he's going to be a much better player this week than he was last week, and so it'll be a challenge for us. There's still a lot of unknown just because he's only played one regular season game, and it'll be a lot of challenging circumstances for us.
Have you looked at their front at all? Is that as good of a front as?
I haven't gotten a chance to watch much film yet on those guys. I'm transitioning to that right after this. But we played these guys last year, so obviously they've added to what they already had last year. And last year it was a definite challenge when I was in Philadelphia playing these guys with the front that they had. And so they got a ton of talent on that defense. They're really well coached. I think they have an excellent system. They make it really hard on you, and they do a really good job. All right. Thanks, guys.